All right, hello everyone. Today we're going to be going over APA formatting and writing tips. For all the papers you have in this class, you will need to be writing an APA, including in-text citations and references, and same for the references for your speeches. We'll talk more about that when you come to speeches, but you're going to have to reference some things. So it's probably good that you know how to do that. That being said, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you, and we can go over just how to do that. Okay, so for formatting, you're going to want 12-point font, and you're going to want to use Times New Roman, pretty classic. It's got to be double spaced. And paragraph spacing is going to be 0.0 before and after. You're going to use 1-inch margins, and you're always going to have a cover page and a reference page that is separate. Interesting questions that are always asked about the cover page and the reference page. Does it count towards my page count? No, it does not. If you have a 3-page paper, your reference page does not count in that page count, and same with the references. You do not count those. So if you provide a paper that's got a cover page, 1 page of text, and then references, that will not be enough. So how you're going to format your title page is you're going to insert a creative title or assignment name. You're going to have your first and last name, and then you're going to write your university. So California State University, Fullerton. On the cover page, you're also going to have a running head. Running head is not going to be capitalized. And then you're going to provide your title in all caps. It's not going to be the title that you have here, the insert creative title or an assignment. You're going to shorten it. So if I had a study called gendered nonverbal behaviors in the weight, qualitative study on nonverbal behaviors in the weight room, you're probably going to shorten it to nonverbal behaviors in the weight room, or just nonverbal behaviors. Something that gives the reader an idea of what you're going to talk about, and it's a really good way of introducing it. And then you're going to start on the next page, noticing that the first line of each paragraph is indented. Also notice that the running head from page 2 onward is just simply a shortened version of the title, so that you put it on every single other page without the running head. So what you're going to have to do is there's a little button when you're creating a title that has a little button, and it's called different first page. And so your header on your first page is going to be different on every other page. And then there's page numbers on all of them. And then this is what your references will look like. You're going to have your running head without the word running head, because that only appears on your cover page. You're going to have references. You are going to have a hanging indentation. Hanging indentation is a little bit different. If you don't know how to do it, Google it. But the best way to format it is to play with those margins. You're going to list the authors, not in alphabetical order. It's actually, so the first author listed in these references is actually the person that has put the most work into it, and then so on and so forth. The year it was published, the title, italicized, the edition, and then the publisher. And that's all you need for an APA citation or reference. Sometimes you can add a DOI, sometimes they don't have it. You don't need it. All right, you need to cite all of your work, all of it. If you did not create the concept, idea, words, then you need to cite where it came from. This is something that is absolutely necessary, because if you do not do this, it counts as plagiarism, because you did not generate that idea yourself. Plagiarism in college, like the #1 no-no, we don't do it. So if you didn't think of it yourself, you need to find out who did, and you need to cite it. All right, so we are now going to talk about in-text citations in APA. So for in-text paraphrasing, so if you're paraphrasing an idea or a thought, you are going to put the authors in parentheses, O'Hare, Weeman, Mullen, and Tevin, 2018, right? For direct quotes, so when you're actually pulling the direct quotation from the text and you're putting little quotation marks because they aren't your words, for direct quotes, you need to provide all the same information, O'Hare, Weeman, Mullen, and Tevin, 2018, and the page number. So we know where you got it from and we can go back and reference it if we want to. For in-text direct quotes with multiple pages, you're going to do the same exact thing, but you're going to put a little dash and talk about all of the pages that went through. So page 144-145. So the polls from multiple pages, do not panic. Just cite the 2 different pages. All right, so here are just some examples that we can talk about. At the gym, men tend to take more than the allotted time on the treadmills. This is an example of territoriality. Territoriality is when a person claims an area by staying in an area for a long period of time. And this is a paraphrase. You put it in your own words. There's no direct quotation. And so you would just do O'Hare, Weeman, Mullen, and Tevin, 2018. And then the next one is, at the gym, men tend to take more than the allotted time on the treadmills. This is an example of territoriality, which is the quote, continuous occupation of an area. O'Hare, Weeman, Mullen, Tevin, and then page 110. Yeah, page 110. So they provide the place that you got it from, so we can go back and find it. A lot of times researchers do this, especially when you're doing similar research, so you know the different sources they used, so you can go through the textbook yourself if you're looking for something in particular. Make sure you do this for a direct quote. More examples. According to O'Hare, Weeman, Mullen, and Tevin, 2018, territoriality is when a person claims an area by staying in an area for a long period of time. This is a different way of doing a paraphrase. You're putting it in your own words, but it's a different way than incorporating it in parentheses at the end of the sentence. Oh, something important to note as well. I meant to go back. Something important to note, the period at the end of the sentence goes after the parentheses. After the parentheses. Not before, after. And then if you want to incorporate the reference within the sentence itself, you can say something like, according to O'Hare, Weeman, Mullen, and Tevin, 2018, comma, and then do your paraphrase. Another way of incorporating a direct quote with the APA citation is saying something like, according to O'Hare, Weeman, Mullen, Tevin, 2018, territoriality is the claiming of an area with or without legal basis through continuous occupation of that area, end parenthesis, or end quotation, parenthesis, page number 110, end parenthesis, and then period. So the period doesn't go after the word area, but it would go after the end of the parenthesis on the page number. And if it's confusing at all, or if you forget, go ahead and go back and reference this PowerPoint. It's going to be on Titanium, so you have access to it, and you can go ahead and take a look at all the things that you would need to know for the upcoming papers you need to write. All right, citations within citationception. If you're using a quotation out of another, meaning in an article, the authors use a quote or a paraphrase that are works by another author, you will need to include as cited in. So paraphrase, so if you provide a paraphrase by putting something in your own words, paraphrase, and then you cite the author that originally said it, York, as cited in O'Hare, Weeman, Mullen, Tevin, 2018. And then if we do the same exact thing with a direct quote, we go, according to York, comma, add the direct quote, and then we put as cited in O'Hare, Weeman, Mullen, and Tevin, 2018, and then still the page number. So this is for quoting an author's work from another author's work. So in your textbook, Tevin and O'Hare and Weeman and Mullen all go in and cite other authors that they've learned things from. This basically allows us to know who they pulled that information from, and so we can give proper credit where credit is due. That, or you can just go look up the original work. You could go ahead and look up York's original work, which is like an extra step, or you could just add the as cited in. Okay, so for our writing, we're going to avoid qualifiers. We don't want to qualify things, we want to make arguments. So in our writing, we're gonna avoid things like a lot, a little, or many. Qualifiers typically take away from the main point of our sentence. For example, the many girls in the locker room looked annoyed. Or as opposed to the girls in the locker room looked annoyed. One is a more direct sentence where we're gonna try to avoid qualifiers when we're writing. All right, we need to work on our tense continuity. Here's an example of a wrong tense continuity. The girl looked at the boy while she smiled at him. Right. The girl looked at the boy and smiled. An example of wrong one. He did not cry, he laughs. But to say it correctly would be, he did not cry, he laughed, past tense. So make sure we are focusing on our tense continuity. Subject-verb agreement. Singular subjects need singular verbs, plural subjects need plural verbs. For example, my brother's a nutritionist, my sisters are mathematicians. The indefinite pronouns anyone, everyone, someone, and no one, nobody are always singular and therefore require singular verbs. All right, look for any semicolons and commas. When you can, change those from one sentence into two, just because that way we avoid run-on sentences and we create something that's easier to digest for our audiences and for your professor when they are reading them. Got versus have. I have a college degree versus I got a college degree. Make sure we're aware of that. And then for this assignment, you do not need an abstract. In AP writing, you typically need an abstract, which is 200 some words at the beginning that describe what it is you're going to be talking about for the entirety of your paper. That's for the long ones. That's like for something like what I'm writing right now, which is, I don't know, like a 100-page research assignment or paper or whatever, but you don't need an abstract for any of these assignments. They're far too short for that to be necessary, so don't worry about that. Okay, if you are out of ideas, if you're stuck, part of writing is that we need to create several drafts. You need to write and rewrite, and you need to proofread. I was notorious in undergrad, even a little bit of college, for never reading something twice, and I wish I had, because I think it would have gotten me much better grades than when I submitted it without reading it a second time. If you're stuck, I'm here as a resource. I want to help you. Shoot me an email. Set up office hours, but do not wait until the day or hours leading up to the assignment due date. I'm happy to meet with you and assist you with formatting, sourcing, writing during my office hours, or by appointment, so just shoot me an email. I do not mind. And then a great resource for APA is Purdue OWL. And the earlier you start, the better off you will be. So make sure you start early, make sure you feel good about it, and if you don't, shoot me an email, we'll talk about it. If you don't understand APA, email me, Google Purdue OWL. These are all super helpful resources. So that being said, I think that's just about everything. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys are having a great start to your semester. All right, I will see y'all soon. Bye.